I've been wanting to make this video for a while and talk about how Ulta Beauty World handled their marketing. Now, I have a special point of view because, and don't cancel me, but I actually got a ticket. I know, boo. But listen, working in marketing, having gotten a ticket and not being an influencer, I can tell you what actually happened on that fateful day when the tickets went on sale. Recently, I read this book called The 22 Immutable Laws of Marketing, which talks about the fundamental principle or quote unquote laws for building successful brands. Now, this book is from 1994, very much outdated, but some of these laws still ring true today. And everything that happened with Ulta Beauty World reminded me of law number 20. Law number 20 is the law of hype. The law of hype talks about how the situation is often the opposite of the way it appears in the press. When things are going well, company doesn't need the hype. When you need the hype, it usually means you're in trouble. The authors of this book go on to explain that massive hype around a product or an event often signals underlying problems or an attempt to cover up a weak foundation. The first event that they did was in 2025. It was held in San Antonio and only allowed up to 1,500 people. From the beginning, I always got the impression that this was an exclusive event that not very many people get to go to. So imagine my surprise when the day that the tickets went on sale, the whole world was expecting to go. And I want to talk about the influencer marketing effect and how that caused for the promotion of this event to go completely out of control. As we started approaching the dates that the tickets went on sale, I obviously started seeing more and more content about the previous event, as well as influencers managing expectations, answering frequently asked questions like, can you bring a bag? And if you're like me, you're also battling a TikTok addiction. So I always see the drama and behind the scenes and watch as things are unfolding in real time. All these influencers that were promoting the upcoming event, either they had visited before or they were hoping to get invited because a lot of the content that they were posting was promoting that event. Basically, I observed that the content that was coming out about Ulta Beauty World was from one of two buckets of influencers. One that had already been there and one that wanted to hopefully get invited or get some kind of brand deal out of it. And on top of being on TikTok, I'm also on Reddit. And Reddit is where I saw the real impact that this had on the beauty community. Influencer marketing has gone so far now that the actions of an influencer directly affect the brand. We've known this, obviously, but what we can learn from the marketing of this event is that free publicity isn't always good publicity. Now, obviously, the influencers that were posting about the event and promoting it had nothing to do with Ulta. They were doing that on their own accord. I want to go over what I found that Ulta actually did in the hopes of promoting their event. When it comes to their internal promotion, I only found 4 Instagram posts on their page. I'm going to break down what each one of them did. The first post is their initial announcement, which is a pretty standard event promo.
This is the post you've been waiting for regarding Ulta Beauty World 2026. All the information is available now, and I'm going to be spilling the tea. Ulta Beauty World is going to be held on April 16th at the Orange County Convention Center in Orlando, Florida. Tickets are going to be $160, and that includes a swag bag worth $2,000. New in 2026 is Ulta Beauty World Masterclasses. It's an exclusive hands-on session led by industry experts. This event will take place on April 15th, and tickets are $75. And it also includes products from the featured brands. Tickets will be available at 9 a.m. Central Standard Time on January 21st. If you're interested in both events, we do have a limited amount of tickets to give access to both while saving you a little money. Ulta Beauty World 2026 landing page is live now, and it's linked in our bio. Check it out for all of the details.
Okay, as you can see, an influencer, which most likely works internally with Ulta because she said towards the end, the link is live in our website. She said our, not theirs. So that tells me that this influencer works internally with them. And that's why I mentioned earlier that a lot of the influencers that were making videos exactly like this one that was obviously approved by Ulta's internal team were hoping to get on Ulta's page by having the T, like the girl said in the beginning. And because so many different influencers were creating similar content, obviously the word spread without there being any mention so far as to how many tickets are available. Let's study the second post that I found. This second post was actually posted on the same day as the first post, and they were really smart to promote the event maybe a week and a half leading to the date that the tickets went on sale. Because if you promoted this event a month in advance, people might lose interest. Not only that, it was the holidays. So they couldn't really promote this event as far in advance as they maybe would have liked to. So in the perception of the majority of the population, because there was so much content out there, not from Ulta, it seemed like there was a lot of promotion behind this event. Now, the third post, this is where things start to get messy. This post went up the morning that the tickets went on sale. And as someone who got the tickets, I can tell you that the portal opened at 8:59 a.m. I was refreshing the page. At 8:59, I was able to get in and get in the queue. And after waiting in the queue, I got to the page where you got to register. When I clicked the register button, it said there was an error. It didn't say it was sold out. It just said we are not able to process your request at this time or something along the lines of that. I'm going to insert the screenshot of what it said. But I didn't give up because the verbiage didn't tell me that it was sold out. It told me that there was some kind of error with the website. So I kept refreshing the page and kept clicking register now. And eventually I got to the page where I was able to select the Ulta Beauty World ticket and I was able to check out and actually get a ticket. Now, this post hit the Reddit community particularly hard because they felt like they were played and they felt like there were tickets that were hidden for influencers. There were so many rumors going around the internet, but a lot of people were speculating that the 3,000 tickets were actually more like 1,500 for the general public and 1,500 for influencers. Although Ulta said that there were no tickets that were set aside for influencers, and if they did, it would not affect the tickets that were on sale for the general public. People just couldn't accept the fact that they were not able to snag one. And I want to make something very clear at this point. If you're a brand and you have a product coming out or you want to launch a new service, teasing about an upcoming product or feature does the opposite of what you think it's going to do. Instead of making people curious about what you have coming up, people might feel like there's something that you're keeping from them, something that is rightfully theirs. First of all, if you've built a cult following like that, congratulations, you're doing something right. But if you haven't gotten there yet, there are ways to manage expectations that don't make your audience feel excluded. And I can give you an example. Say you're launching a beverage brand and you want to post on social media talking about the process and what it took to build your brand and your company, but there are delays on the back end with production and your launch date keeps getting pushed back and pushed back and pushed back. There's an opportunity for you to promote your product or your event when it's polished and ready to go. It's not really necessary to do this ramp up and tease and countdown because obviously, as we've seen from the Ulta Beauty World disaster, it can get out of control really fast. Now, this last post was the nail in the coffin for everyone that didn't get a ticket. The post says, sorry, we're sold out. And if you missed them, don't worry that there will be chances to win. This hit people particularly hard because based on what I saw in some of the comments that Ulta replied to, they said that there wasn't going to be a queue. So people felt like that was lie number one. It was said there wasn't going to be a queue, yet there was. They never clarified how many tickets were going to be available. And so people naturally speculated that because so many influencers posted about getting a ticket, that they must have had one reserved. And matter of fact, when you would go to the register page, it would ask for a code. It seemed as if people were giving codes prior to the tickets going live so that either they get to skip the queue or once they get to the queue, they are guaranteed a ticket with a special code. We don't really know how that was set up on the back end. Ulta never really made a comment on how many tickets were giving to influencers. They only confirmed that if there were any given to influencers, that it did not affect the 3,000 that were available to the general public. But again, that was never clarified to the audience. And at the same time, I think it should have been fairly obvious that there was going to be a limited amount of tickets, knowing that last year's event only had 1,500 attendees. Ultimately, where Ulta went wrong was thinking that all the free publicity that they were getting from influencers was good publicity. Most people that are in the know in the beauty industry were aware of the first event and, of course, excited to try and get tickets for the second one. All the hype from the influencers that were feeding the algorithm, hoping to be seen, really didn't do anything to promote the event, because those who needed to know already knew. And instead, all this added hype created something that was too big to manage. When you let influencers drive 100% of the narrative without clear and direct communication from the brand itself, you lose control of expectation. Relying solely on influencer hype without backing it up with transparent brand communication is a recipe for disaster. And it's exactly what happened here. The reality is that influencers did most of the heavy lift in promoting this event. They created a situation where millions of people thought they had a fair chance at getting a ticket, when in reality, 3 million customers were stuck in a virtual queue competing for just 3,000 tickets. Now, this could have been 3 million devices. A lot of people, myself included, were on multiple devices trying to get tickets. So it may not necessarily be 3 million individuals, but rather 3 million devices. Still, that's a huge amount of people vying for just 3,000 tickets. And nobody really knew what this event was actually supposed to be because Ulta never clarified it. And when customers feel deceived, you get exactly what Ulta got: mass backlash, accusations of bait and switch advertising, petitions with thousands of signatures, and some people threatening to boycott and even go back to Sephora when Sephora was already canceled for different reasons. One Reddit user even found evidence in the ticketing system source code suggesting that invite codes were pre-generated before the public tickets went live, meaning that some people had exclusive access before regular customers even had a chance. Whether that's true or not, the fact that customers believe that shows how badly the trust was broken. If you're enjoying this video so far, go ahead and subscribe. It lets me know that you want to see more marketing breakdowns like this. Now, before we wrap up, I want to leave you with some lessons that you can take away and learn from Ulta's mistake. If you have a product you want to launch or you want to build in public, here's what you need to take from this. 1. Have clear communication with your audience. Don't rely on influencers to do all the talking for you. And if you are going to hire influencers, make sure that they work exclusively with you. That way you can have control over how much content is put out there promoting your product, the tone of voice that the influencer uses, and therefore you can manage expectations. Number 2, manage expectations transparently. If you have 3,000 tickets, say that up front. Don't let millions of people think that they have a fair shot at this. The law of hype tells us that when things are going well, you don't need the hype. 3, build systems that match your promises. If you're going to promote an event as being open to the public, your ticketing infrastructure needs to handle that public level demand. Or you need to be honest and say that it's actually not public. 4, remember that influencer actions directly affect your brand. Even if as a society, we're slowly pivoting away from the overconsumption of influencers, their credibility and occasional authenticity are key drivers of consumer trust and purchase intention. But here's the biggest takeaway. When influencers create unrealistic expectations that your brand can't fulfill, their credibility becomes your liability. The bottom line is that hype without substance, publicity without planning, and exclusivity without honesty will always backfire. Ulta created a situation that was too big to manage and damaged customer trust in the process. Don't let that be your brand. Let me know, what do you think was the biggest mistake that Ulta made in promoting their event? Let me know in the comments, and I will see you on the next one. Bye.